Louis XIV was the king who consolidated the position of an official royal mistress at court. A woman in a relationship with the king would receive the title and substantial financial rewards. The king's official mistress would also have influence over the king with regards to the decisions he would make, whether for personal affairs or political ones. The rivalry between his mistresses was understandably fierce. During his long life and reign, Louis XIV had 4 official mistresses and numerous unofficial ones. Françoise d'Aubigné, later Marquise de Maintenon, was his last mistress. She was an extremely ambitious woman who was able to escape a life of poverty, acquire knowledge, and end up as the wife of the Sun King, Louis XIV. Her rise from humble beginnings to the king's court is an astonishing story. If Louis XIV had a higher status and origin in the land, Françoise d'Aubigné could not have been further apart. She was born on the 27th of November, 1635, to Constant d'Aubigné and Jeanne du Cardia, a couple of noble origins from Niort in western France who had fallen on hard times. Françoise had a difficult childhood with her impoverished parents facing financial problems to the extent that her father was imprisoned for debt. When she was 4 years old, her parents took Françoise and her brother with them to the West Indies. Upon their return to France, when Françoise was 12 years old, she became an orphan and was put into the care of her father's sister. Shortly after, she was sent to be educated in a convent, according to her godmother's wishes, to the displeasure of young Françoise. One day she travelled to Paris with the mother of Françoise's godmother, having thus the opportunity to be introduced to people of the French high society. As a provincial, seeing Paris for the first time, Françoise must have been amazed. Later on, she met there her future husband, the poet Paul Scarron. He was 42, extremely unattractive, and was suffering with debilitating rheumatism. Françoise was only 16. When the poet asked her to marry him, Françoise realized it was her only way of avoiding an uncertain future. She was intelligent and loved learning and wanted to leave behind her chaotic upbringing experiences. During her married life with Scarron, she enjoyed meeting different authors and personalities who visited her husband's literary salon and who were well placed at the royal court of Louis XIV. Françoise became familiar with the art of conversation in a Parisian literary salon, and she also started reading extensively. Françoise looked after her husband until his death 8 years later. After his death, Françoise lived off his pension quite comfortably for a while, until one day when the king decided to terminate her pension. At 31, Françoise was facing uncertainty, so she decided to try her luck in a new country. But things changed rapidly after Françoise met the king's mistress, Madame de Montespan, who was a regular visitor of the literary salon, and Françoise became her protégée. From that moment on, her life would change irreversibly. At 34, Françoise was entrusted with the education of the illegitimate children of Louis XIV and of his mistress, Madame de Montespan. Françoise would live in a grand residence with the children and the servants employed by the king to help her run the household. She was devoted to the children, and she showed excellent skills for teaching, and so the role of governess fitted her quite well. No one would imagine that Françoise was actually on her way to become the king's favorite. After 3 years, when the king acknowledged the children as his legitimate children, Françoise was moved to Château de Saint-Germain, and she became the royal governess for the king's children. By the time Françoise was 40 years old, the king rewarded her loyalty for taking care of his children by donating her money to buy a chateau near Paris. A year later, Françoise received the title of Marquise de Maintenon. With a new title, gradually Françoise was actually climbing the hierarchical system of the French society and was achieving her financial security. The king's generosity towards Madame de Maintenon sparked the jealousy of Madame de Montespan. Without realizing, Françoise was becoming more interesting and attractive for the king. Her former protector, Madame de Montespan, became her rival. When the affair of the poisons infiltrated the royal court, rumors started circulating about Madame de Montespan being involved in sorcery and poisoning. The king wanted to avoid a public scandal, and the astonishingly beautiful Madame de Montespan fell out of favor. When the king started to doubt her loyalty and affection for him, her days at court would be numbered. With the king's mistress out of the royal court, Madame de Maintenon was free to decide whether to accept the king's proposal of being together. She actually rejected his advances initially, trying to get Louis to pay more attention to his actual wife, Queen Marie Therese. But the king was fascinated by Madame de Maintenon. He wanted her to become his secret mistress. She was a cultivated woman, and the king enjoyed her company, so much so that she was able to influence some of his political decisions. When Queen Marie Therese died unexpectedly in July 1683, the king made a surprising decision. When he was first married to Marie Therese, it was an arranged marriage meant to serve a political purpose. Louis had the chance to change that, and he chose to marry for love the second time. When he asked Madame de Maintenon to marry him, she was in for a treat. It was something unthinkable for a king to do. But Louis had tired of a life of pleasures, and he wanted Madame de Maintenon as his wife. Fighting back her tears, she accepted his marriage proposal. A few months later, the king and Madame de Maintenon married in secret. Although their marriage was not officially recognized, Louis and Madame de Maintenon would be inseparable for the next 32 years. The king was 44 and Madame de Maintenon was 48. Louis also changed his lifestyle, choosing a more measured way of life, leaving behind the life of pleasure he had been so famous for. The king discovered a new life, and Madame de Maintenon was able to offer him a family life he was craving for. She was a rather religious person, and she was able to make the king observe religious events. Quite a change for the Sun King. Madame de Maintenon never forgot the difficulties she went through as a young girl, and decided to use her experience and her teaching abilities to help others. In 1684, she began working on a special education program, and she set up a school for girls of impoverished noble families at Saint-Cyr called the Maison Royale de Saint-Louis. Louis was really supportive of her, and they both visited the school, checking the educational progress of the pupils. When King Louis XIV was old and ill, Madame de Maintenon was there to care for him. It seems that she was destined to offer care and compassion for those in need. In 1715, when King Louis XIV died at the age of 77, Madame de Maintenon retired to Saint-Cyr, where she lived for 4 more years. She died at the age of 83. They both had long lives, and they spent a great life together by finding each other against all odds, from the streets of a small town to the Palace of Versailles. What a monumental achievement in one's life! Her gradual rise showed that Françoise de Bigné was destined to succeed. Make what you will about her, but without a doubt, she was a strong and determined woman who got the king's heart and was able to some degree to influence Louis in making decisions about political matters aimed at ruling the royal kingdom of France.